Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Jazakallah khair. I really truly apologize. Today there were some computer glitches that we were trying to solve for the past 15 minutes, and that is why the delay. And I see, mashallah, people have been here in this room since, 8 o'clock East sharp. So may Allah reward you for being so patient. And again, I really apologize for starting almost 10 minutes late. And alhamdulillah, we thought we might actually not be able to do this program today, but alhamdulillah, with Allah's help, we are in the room. So again, jazakallah khair. We'll begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our monthly prime time event. My name is Saima Shah, and I'm your host on behalf of MCNA and YMJ. MCNA is Muslim Children of North America, and YMJ is Young Muslim Junior, and we're part of ICNA, which is Islamic Circle of North America. And some of you are our regular attendees. We bring you this prime time every month with a new speaker and a new hot topic. And our goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give you, our youth, knowledge and leadership skills so that you can be successful, inshallah, in this world and the next. And so we, again, also have a really cool magazine companion that we've been telling you about in the past few sessions. And in your prime time email, there's a link, and you can be an author in that too. So go when this finishes, you can go back to the email of the prime time that you got and see how you can be an author in our magazine, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So we ask Allah to show us the straight path, and then our goal through prime time is to show you some good way of connecting with Allah, coming close to Allah, and giving you some good leadership skills that will help you be on that straight path. So again, we welcome our today's speaker, Brother Kamal, and he's been so patient with us, alhamdulillah. And so today he is going to tell us about cyber security, and he's an expert in this field. So we try and call an expert of that field to help us understand how we should be doing the right thing and pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that way. And he has, alhamdulillah, a long resume, but I'm just going to quickly go over some things. He started his career in 2004 with a small company providing commerce platform for big retailers. In 2010, he landed at IBM after two company acquisitions. He has a passion for building technology teams from the ground up or through transformation and bringing these cool, useful technologies to the market. He believes in a team that runs itself, and then magic happens when he sees his team come together, agree, disagree, decide what's next, hiring and firing. Making things simple is hard. People who excel at this inspire him, and currently he's leading engineering teams working on multiple databases as a service product. And there were other cool things about him that due to lack of time, I am skipping. But without further ado, Jazakallah khair, Brother Kamal, for being so patient with us. The mic and screen is all yours.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. So I'm very glad that this is going through, and do appreciate all the volunteers' help. This stuff is not easy. I was hoping that somebody actually hacked the webinar, and we're gonna have a surprise of a cybersecurity in action here, where we've been hacked and we can't go on. Would have been nice, right? Anyhow, let's. I'm gonna be looking at the questions that you guys are asking. I'm hoping this will be as interactive as possible. So what I'm gonna be asking some questions. You can answer me via the chat or the questions answers, because I want to hear from you as well. We have limited amount of time, so I don't think we're going to be able to have people speak, as I understand it. But you can interact with me here throughout the presentation via the questions, answers window. So let's get started. So just a quick history here, because I want this, the important part. There's two things very important about takeaways. I want everyone to take out of here. One is I want all young adults and even the parents as well to be involved in your communities, be involved in whatever you know, whether it's technology, medical, whether you're a hafid, mashallah, whether you are a scholar, whether you're learning something. Always take whatever you learn and try to share with your peers. This is, don't be afraid. It may be intimidating on day one, but you learn and you get better over time. The second thing is we're talking about our topic today, which is online security, internet security. This picture for me kind of says it all. Today, in the if you go back 10, 15 years ago, internet almost never existed. When it existed, it used to be only available for corporates, maybe the governments. So it wasn't something that was shared with everyone. Today, everyone is connected. Sometimes people think they're not, but they're connected. We have many devices that are connected. We have, and they're not, I'm not just talking about phones and computers and touchpads. There's much more, and we'll touch on that as well. But this is a very important topic that everyone should be aware of. Awareness is number one. The goal of this session today is make you all aware of the pros and cons of being connected. Make you aware of how you're connected. And inshallah, by being aware as a first step, then you can take some actions on protecting yourself and your family. And for the kids, I'm sure, mashallah, a lot of you are aware of some of being connected, and maybe even can help your parents of being secure online, because you're part of this as well. So we're online today. Our kids are online. Our family are online. Our cars are online. Our homes are online. Appliances, some people's fridges, toasters, even everything you can think of today, every single device you can think of today is connected somehow. So let's talk a little bit about some numbers. These are a few numbers I wanna share with you. Before I do that, and maybe I can see some people interacting with me here. Number of websites. Can people guess how many websites do you guys think exist out there? I'm gonna see if I can see the chat window here. So feel free to just type your answers in. Start throwing some numbers. How many websites do we think exist today on the World Wide Web? Wow, trillions. It's a very high number. It's a very, very high number. It is 1+ billion websites. When I say websites, I'm not talking about pages. There's websites, and inside each website you can have hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of pages. So there are 1+ billion websites you can actually go and access today, and they range across the board from different sources of things we'll talk about as well. How about users? We have 3.5+ billion users. This is pretty much saying 1 out of 2, almost 1 out of 2 on this planet are users that are connected today to the internet. And this is the one that is new. This is the one that I want you to think about very, very hard. The number of devices that are connected. Today, there are 22+ billion connected devices. And look at the growth. The second part of this. In 3 years, the expectation that this will jump from 22 to $50 billion. I myself is in that industry. A lot of my peers are all going into what's called IoT, Internet of Things, which means everything is getting connected. People are looking at every device that you have, that you can dream of, right? And make sure that it's connected online. The clothes are getting connected. It's not just your phone. It's not just your computer. It's not just your iPad. Your car is getting connected, right? Your fridge is getting connected. And some of these things are expensive if they're connected today, but they're getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. If you haven't heard of something called Raspberry Pi, I recommend you look it up. That's something that basically enabling everyone with very cheap, about $30 or so, to make any device connected to the internet and do some fun things with it. So this is fun. This is good. Comes with a lot of responsibility, though. Now, can we imagine the world without an internet? And this is the reason I put this in here, and we thought about it, because there are some people today that either children or adults who think that, you know what, I want to be in a bubble. This is not safe for me. It's not good, but I want to be in that bubble when I'm not connected. And my message here is that that's not possible. But let's take an example. I have a fun example here for you, and I didn't know about this until I sort of started talking about it, and one of our peers put it here. There used to be something called the Pony Express, right? This is the life without the internet. The Pony Express was established in 1860, and this was a way to send a message, right? And the one service they used to offer is about 2,000 miles. They had 184 stations. It takes 10 days for that message to reach the destination, and it costs about $5,000 to send a letter. So as you look into this, this is the world without an internet today, right? But here's what I want you to think about. If, say, somebody changes their mind and they don't want that letter to reach the destination, it's possible that somebody can actually chase that horse, right, and stop it, right? You have 10 days to do it. You can there's something you can do about that, right? However, today, if you put the message on Facebook, you send somebody an SMS on their phone, you put it on Snapchat, that thing is not coming back. So once that message leaves your device, whether it's your picture, something you're saying, something you're thinking, that you're communicating to somebody, you will not be able to roll that back, right? And that's something that's a very important concept to comprehend, and basically forces you to think about what you want to say, how you want to say it, what are you sending before you send it today? Because a lot of us, especially folks who are born with internet being there on day one, don't think about this all the time. So internet today is used for reference size. This is something that just shows you about the size of the internet and how much we've progressed. The encyclopedia here in 1768 used to be about 2,500 pages. In 1860, it was about 18,000 pages. In March 2012, they stopped printing it, and the reason for that is it's online, right? So this is the place where you used to go to learn about stuff, right? And the knowledge growth has just went exponential, and it's not printed anymore, right? It's all online. That's where we go to learn this stuff. And this is different sites that we can go today and just, you know, search for things online, be accessible online, be available online, whether you go to Google, Bing, Yelp, for medical purposes, for humanity, for Wikipedia. If you're a farmer, everything is going online today. And this is a number here that very much I was saying, while we have 1+ billion websites, we have about 45+ billion pages. All right, this should be familiar to a lot of folks on the phone, especially the youngsters who are just starting to get connected. You may not be connected yourself yet, you may not have your own device yet, but you're hearing about this from your peers. And if you do have a device, you pretty much have at least 3 or 4 of those, whether it's Snapchat or Facebook or Google Plus. For as you get more professional, the LinkedIn is where you start having some portfolio, etc. So this is a way for people to start communicating today, right? If you look at if you take an example of the people that you talk to today, you have your family that are around you, you have your community, you have your extended family, you have your people in school. So the portion of those you see face to face, but most communications you do with people who are not around you is through the internet, whether it's WhatsApp, it's Facebook, Viber. We can go on with the hundreds of different programs that are out there. So it's part of our life today. If you're not connected today, you're hearing about it from your peers, and at some point of time you will be connected with this. And this is a message for the parents here: is that while it's a very good practice to make sure that we limit our children from internet access on a regular basis, make sure that it's controlled. We cannot pretty much limit it from them 100%. They have to be aware of the dangers of it, do it with them along their side. I'm not saying you just give them devices and from now on they're connected 100% of the time, but this is a reality that is out there. And if they're not getting it at home and and being visible to you, they're doing it behind your back, whether it's at school or with their peers at their homes or in the community centers, even if it's the mosque for that matter. All right. So when we talk about internet in general, like anything else, there is the good and there is the bad. Obviously, it's a one way for us to increase communication and have more effective communication, like the programs we just talked about. Increase collaboration. Right now, we're collaborating through webinar, so we don't have to travel to see this presentation, but we can reach each other through a very simple tool with an internet connection and a device. That's pretty phenomenal if you think about this. 10 years ago, where you had to actually travel and go to see that place. Social interactions, references, shopping, smart devices, smart homes, etc. Now, the stuff on the right-hand side is things that you may or may not know about, and that's what I want to make sure everyone here is aware of today, and at least come out a little bit scared. Not coming out saying the internet is bad, we should never connect to it. But I want you to be a little bit. I want to get you a little bit scared, because I do believe that's going to give you awareness. That's going to make you take actions to protect yourself, whether you're the 11-year-old or 14 or 8 or even 2-year-old, like we saw the child. As a parent, what do I do, right? The first part of it is, what am I exposing my family and my homes to? And as a child, what am I exposing myself and my peers and my family to? And then the next action is, how do we control that and take some actions on it? So I'm going to go through some terms here and explain them a little bit more details. I'm going to maybe rush a little through that so we can have definitely more follow-ups. But at least if you have this presentation, you can go and start searching this stuff on your own, learning more about it, and be aware if you're impacted or not. We'll talk about viruses, Trojans, worms. These are things that could attack the devices that you have. Identity theft, impersonation, cyberbullying, loss of privacy, loss of personal information, and ransomware, which when we gave this presentation, first time we gave a presentation that was V1 of this, was maybe 3 years ago, and the ransomware wasn't there. Now it's everywhere. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. It's a very interesting concept that we need to be aware of. And actually, somebody just said, Ajwad just said, another bad thing is fake information. This is impacting us today in our in our political scene and even at schools, right? Fake news, fake information that presents itself as true as the true stuff is really hurting us. That's a very, very good point. Thank you for your contribution. All right, viruses, Trojans, worms. What are these things, right? It sounds like we're in medical school here. So let's talk a little bit about them. So these are different type of programs that attack your device, and this something could be happening if you go to a website that is rogue, like a bad website that you shouldn't be going to. That's why for the kids here who are very frustrated of sometimes your parents have a nanny on the a nanny program on the computer, or if you look at your school, you cannot go to every single website that you want to go to. There's a very good reason for that, because like I mentioned, we have 1+ billion websites that are out there, and with a very simple accidental click, you could end up in a website that actually downloads things on your machine that does a lot of harm. So when you talk about viruses, I'm not going to go through the details of these things, but these are different ways your machine could be attacked. And sometimes it's obvious, and many times it's not. Just what I want you to take out of this is that there are a lot of people out there who are making money by making sure that they can infect your device with either a virus or a worm or a Trojan or a spyware without you knowing. That's the whole point of this. If you know about this, you can definitely avoid it and say no to it. But this stuff actually happens without you knowing by clicking the wrong link. This impacts people at home. It impacts you as a child on your device. It impacts the parent on their own device. It impacts in the professional work. A lot of people here who are in tech companies or even companies that are well connected. There are a lot of trainings that happen to make sure people don't fall into these traps, because they could do a lot of damage here. And this is just at the family level, but they could even do damages at the country level, at the political scene, right? Where country can have cyber wars. today there's what I've been hearing stats that when we talk about countries attacking each other, you know, what do you see in front of you of armies and things like that? There's just a small piece of it. The big thing now is cyber crime and cyber war, and that's something we need to be aware of. It's something that it happens to all of us. Matter of fact, I have a story about my mother that I'm gonna have to find a spot here to talk to you guys about. But it happens to every single one of us, and it's not very obvious for you. So you need to be aware of it. You need to know what these things can do. For example, key logging. Somebody could install a program on your device that would actually log whatever you press, the keys that you press, and sends it over to them. So for an example, I'm going online on my bank website. I put in my login name. I put in my password. That information with this virus or worm or Trojan could be sent over to somebody that now they can access my banking online on their own machine, right? Botnets, sensitive information scanners. Somebody could put them a program on your machine that would actually be scanning and looking for sensitive information, like your tax returns, right? We just submitted taxes. A lot of these taxes now are happening on our devices, like or even online. We download them. We can download our W-2s. So we save a lot of this information on our machines today. People can actually be downloading programs here that will be looking for this kind of stuff and sending them over for them so they can use them. They can sell them. They can make money off them to steal your identity, to steal information from you, to hack your credit card, to hack your bank account, and basically make the maximum amount of money they can off you here as well. Physical destruction. This is something that happens all the time. Somebody actually, there's a story about where in one country their nuclear reactor was actually hacked. That reactor was completely disconnected from the internet, except somebody threw a thumb drive, a USB thumb drive that somebody put in the machine, and that thumb drive had a program on it that was able to crawl into the system without anybody noticing and actually cause physical destruction on that nuclear reactor. This could happen. This is one of the things that for kids here who are looking at careers, security is a huge field right now that people are getting into. It provides a huge opportunity to do proactive things. It's more of a cat and a mouse kind of thing. But the field of security today is pretty huge, pretty significant. I really encourage folks who are looking at, hey, what career I want to get into. I want to do programming. I want to do computer science. I want to do computer engineering. Which field? Security is one I recommend people taking classes in, and that can start actually even in high school, to understand how people could be making damages, be part of the companies that actually could stop that and proactively help stop those intruders from hijacking data or causing physical destruction, or even getting into people's machines and stealing their information. So that's definitely a field that I encourage to a lot of people. So how this could happen? Very simple things. People don't even think about this much. You get an email that has an attachment on it. You don't know who the email is from. That's one scenario. You click on that attachment, and voila, it downloads that program on your machine, and you are in trouble. So you got to be very careful about what you click on, what emails you open. Sometimes even the hackers now getting smarter and smarter by sending in an email that on the surface it looks like it's from your parent, looks like it's from your child, from your sister, from your brother. But all they have done is they found a way to just change the name. But if you actually hover over the email, you can see that it's of somebody that is from a different email address. But they just know about you right now. They know who your friends are, and they can actually try to get into your machine by pretending to be one of those friends, just sending a trusted email. Visiting rogue sites and free sites. This is the kids are doing this all the time right now, and kids, this is really the very important message for you. I know it's very tempting to go to websites today where you can download free movies and videos. You can actually get. I was talking to a very young fella, very smart guy who's 11 years old, that was explaining to me how he was able to go to a website and find a way to hack a game so he can get more points out of that game that he actually would actually buy, and that's actually illegal, and you could actually be going to jail for that, or your parents would be going to jail for that. But I know it's very tempting for you to be going to these websites, especially if you are on a machine that is open and not locked down, like your school machine. Just know that when you do that, that's an opportunity where hackers use to actually download programs that on your machine that will compromise you and compromise your family. And if you look at a family, for example, of a mother and a father and 3 children or 4 children, if all of them are secured except one, right, that's an entryway for the intruders to come in and actually cause trouble. So please be very careful what websites you go to. I know it's frustrating sometimes when you have protection on the machines that you have access to, whether it's at school or at your community place, or even at home. But that's for a very good reason, because of the sites that are out there that you can have access to. A lot of them are vague, and they actually can cause a lot of damage. And by the way, you don't know that damage until later. So it's not something that's obvious all the time. Very good. I'm looking at the comments that are here. 3-point sites, absolutely, and that's how they lure people in, right? I mean, they say, oh, you're playing a game XYZ. Here's a website where you can go find out tricks of how you can get to the next level. Here's a website where you can get free. No such thing as free. There's no such thing as free today. They're always getting you with something, whether you're watching ads, whether you're downloading something on your machine and introduce it in, like an adware where it causes your machine to be slower now and actually actually could cause damage to your own machine. Just to keep in mind, nothing is free. So subhanAllah, and this aligns with our deen, right? Our deen here encourages to just do things right? If I'm playing a soccer game and there's a referee here that says, you know what, I'm going to give you 5 points, or I'm going to give you 3 points without even me scoring, that's just not right? So same thing happens when you're online. If you're going to for a website that's giving you free points without the website being legit, right? Without somebody who understands the website and the motives behind it, talk to you about it and give you advice, then I would stay away. Even if it's something cool and people are talking about it and spreading the words about it, be very careful, because at the end of the day, it's going to only harm you. All right, so what can we do? So here are some recommendations I want to walk through here. There's some things that most laptops or machines that you buy today have this, but you need to be aware of it. Sometimes you think it's taking care of you, but believe it or not, if you buy a PC today, you may have subscription to an antivirus or a spyware for 6 months, and then you have to go and pay for it. So just be aware if you get that expiration, that hey, your subscription has expired. You need to go renew it. You must have an antivirus or a spyware that at minimum have that can detect these things for you. Again, if you have that, that's not a complete protection, because sometimes the hackers are always ahead of the programs that, or the people that build these programs. They're always trying to find ways to go around them. So the antivirus becomes a reactive more than a proactive in most cases, but it's actually definitely better than nothing. It could detect it for you, if not today, tomorrow when you make the update. And on this antivirus and spyware, one common mistake people do is they don't keep them up to date all the time. That's something you have to check on them. You have to make sure that they're updated, because what they need to do is they basically have a signature of that virus or spyware that they need to go and detect on your machine, and you need to keep updating those signatures so that the program that you have learns about what's out there, what's new, and make sure that it's protected. All right, let me look at some questions here. What is cybersecurity? So this just talks about security of being connected, right, to the internet, regardless what device that you have. If you have a phone, it needs to be secured. If you have a device, a laptop, it needs to be secured. If you have your nanny cam, it needs to be secured. So anything that is connected today, we need to be aware that there is some security that we have to pay attention to. What is spyware, antivirus? These are basically programs that are installed on your machine. Mostly they're applicable to laptops. I'm not aware of them being applicable to phones, mobile phones, but we can talk about that in a minute because I do have my own opinion about mobile phones and different securities. But these are programs that you must have on your machine to detect if you have any viruses that are lingering that have made it to your machine through clicking on a bad attachment or something like that. And what they do is they auto detect that sometimes, and they tell you about them, and you can go and take action against that. You have to install that. A lot of times they come free with the device that you buy. But whenever you go buy a laptop or a desktop, ask if you buy it from Best Buy or Walmart, or ask them about antivirus. Does it have it? If it has it, what is my subscription? When does it expire? So you make sure that it's always up to date, and you don't end up with a machine that doesn't have an antivirus to keep you protected. All right, let's move on here. Never click on a shortened URL or QR codes. I'm not sure if you guys have seen what QR codes look like, but they look like the new version of a barcode. They look like squares that you can just click on. They actually have them if you go to Subway, or if you go to any store. They actually have them posted, and through your device, your camera can click on them, and that takes you to a website. All they are is basically they translate to a URL or a link that you can actually. It's just like clicking on a link. So you got to be careful when you scan those. If those could actually be taken into rogue websites that could cause damage to your machine. Shortened URL, sometimes the URL or the link itself is too long, so there are websites today where you can go and make it shorter. By making it shorter, you take away the context of it. So for example, if I have a Bank of America website and I make it link and I make it shorter, the context of Bank of America is not there anymore. What they've done is they found smaller set of letters and numbers combinations that will make it easy for me to memorize and remember the URL, but it doesn't tell me what actually it is. So be careful before you click. You click on those. So using this is USB flash drives. Some of you may know this. Some of you may not have seen those before. But these are basically memory sticks that you put in your device that you can exchange data. You can transfer data from one person to another, from one laptop to another. These could also be carrying malware or viruses on them, like I mentioned with the nuclear reactor incident. So be aware of those. Don't just pick up one off the street and put it on your machine, even if you're curious on what it has inside it. All right, let me just look at here some questions, see if there's anything I can quickly go over. All right, one question here is what happens when you accidentally click on a bad link, and I can't see the rest of the question. Let me see if I can. That connects you. Okay, that's a long question. Try to make a question shorter. I can't see the rest of the question because of the screen itself is pretty short. But if end up the way you'll know if you clicked on a bad link. Matter of fact, sometimes what you do is the moment you click on it, you have all these pop-ups that just show up in front of you. The first thing I would do is just close the browser as soon as possible and just shut down your device. That's the safest thing possible. And when you bring it back up, just make sure that you just don't go to that website again. Some people who are more advanced are able to restart their machine with no network, so that nothing is connected, and they can just clear that website. They can do the scan of their device without it being connected, and the device, the program will hopefully catch whatever was downloaded, if anything like that. When downloading game show, do you know which one is safe? I don't know what game shows are. Usually, if it's free, I would question it, because sometimes anything that is free is always associated with malware and adware that they want to make the money off you somehow. And this could be by stealing your cookies that are on your device, which has information about you that they can sell to advertisers and stuff like that. And some of them could be just a hacker who puts a very nice game out there, because by downloading it, now you can download a program that will send them your keylog and further information that will jeopardize your own machine. Alrighty. Yes, I'll be talking about cyberbullying in a minute. That's a very dear topic to my heart as well. Identity theft. This is very important. This is something we don't think about often. There's actually, I learned this from a very good friend of mine at work. Everything you see in front of you here, date of birth, email address, email ID, your address, social security number, especially for the kids, right? All this information about you, people can use that against you. They can use that to figure out how to log into your devices. If you use them as secret questions, they can use them to actually steal your own identity. And against it, and when they do that, they can create credit cards. They can even buy homes. They can have a credit line, and you won't know that sometimes until you're older, or even too late. But it's something that happens very very often. So do not share this information online. This is something I want to make sure people are aware that everything here should be kept between you and the people that you know, and don't just give it to people that you do not know. And that's one thing I want. Regarding locations, like your home address. Sometimes you think that I'm giving, okay, I'm not going to give anybody my address, but there's actually another way where almost everybody who has a phone today is giving their address by sharing a picture. And that's one thing I want everyone to do today. One thing I want you to come out of today is disabling the location on your camera. And I'll talk about this in a minute, but this is something I want everyone to figure out how to do today, whether you have an Android or an iPhone. Look at the settings, Google it, find how do I disable location tagging on my picture. By default, whenever you take a picture with your devices, it tags the location of where you took that picture. So the scenario here, this how could be bad. This could be good, like oh, I can put on a map now all my pictures and what I've been. But here's how this could be bad. If you as a parent, for example, take a picture of your children at home, in their bedroom, in their school, in their in the mosque, at the playground, and somebody hacks that device and takes those pictures, or even not even that, you post those pictures on Facebook, you post them on website where people can have access to them. Now somebody can actually know your life and know where you are, at what time, where your children are, right? And do some damage and do something that inshallah will not happen to any of us. But be aware of this. This geotagging on the cameras should be disabled on every device. So that's one thing I want to make sure everybody come out tonight with one action item, which is figure out for your own device, whether it's an iPad, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's a Samsung, whether it's any device that you take picture with, look it up, Google how to disable geotagging or location on that picture and turn it off. So from now on, the picture itself will not contain any information about where this picture was taken. So in case it gets in the wrong hands, they're not able to know, oh, at this time my kids go to school, at this time my kids go to the playground, and here is where they go, right? That's something we want to avoid, inshallah. So what people can do with personal information, they can reset passwords, right? A lot of the secret questions you see today, whenever you set any password, is ask you for personal information that people think that you only should be knowing. They can establish new financial accounts, like I mentioned. They can steal your money. They can even not even your money. They can make credit cards in your own name and cause a lot of damage. And all this stuff will be done under your name. Yeah, this actually happened where a hacker reset a politician's email account with a very simple secret question of a birth date, high school, which was posted on her website. And there is phishing and spear phishing. Basically, phishing is whenever people send out a mass email to a lot of people, hoping somebody will click that link, will click that button on that email that I can steal that information. Spear phishing is when you target a specific person in an organization. For example, somebody could send a very targeted message to the chief security officer, right, to try to hack them specifically, so they can make it more personalized. So this is something very important as we look at the emails that we open up and the spam that we get. Be very careful. The programs right now are getting much better. If you have Gmail, I haven't used Hotmail for a while, but I heard it's getting better. I use Gmail, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good at filtering what's spam, what's not spam. But you cannot just rely on it completely. You have to be aware yourself, and you have to be conscious of what email am I opening, why am I clicking on this before you click on that attachment or the link that could take you to a bad place. And just so you know, the more you open up rogue websites, the more you sign up your emails to different advertisements and ads, the more the risk you have of falling into these traps. All right, recommendations. I think we talked about this a little bit where we don't post our personal information. So I'm gonna just try to get a little bit rushed here because we are. Yeah, I'm gonna rush a little bit because I wanna touch about other topics. We talked about a lot of this today. One thing I wanna talk about that people don't know much about is two-factor authentication. Please write this one down. It's a third one from the bottom. It's called two-factor authentication. So basically, this means a lot of websites support this today, whether you have a Gmail or whether you have a bank account, where every time you log into that website for the first time, it needs to authenticate in two ways. One would be your login name and password. The second thing would be sending a text message to your phone with a code on it to make sure that it's actually you who's trying to log in. So please write this one down. Go to any website that you have today where you have login and make sure that you enable two-factor authentication. Unfortunately, it is not enabled by default. There's some companies starting to catch up right now and make it on by default. They think it's easier if I just have a login name and password, but it's much safer when you have another way of authenticate that is actually you, which is usually sending a text message to your device, letting you know, hey, you're trying to log into this website. Here's the code for it. If somebody else trying to hack you, they won't be able to do that. And another action item for everyone today: your passwords have to be smart passwords. Like don't use anything that is predictable. Don't use anything that is basic. Make sure you always use numbers, combinations of numbers, letters, capital letters, special characters. So this is my favorite password here. I love kebab. But you can see there's creative ways of doing that, right? Where you can replace the letters with some exclamation mark, with @ sign, with the numbers. So please take your and nobody should be using this password. Just warning everyone here. But the idea here is that don't use simple passwords, because today there are people actually have programs that would try to log in as you, and they would guess your password, whether it's from your profile, but they can actually go through all the different combinations. And the more simple your password is, the easier it is to guess, the easier it is for somebody to get into that system. All right, I'm gonna actually. I'm not gonna go in details on this, but I want to say one statement that I want, especially the kids here, to hear. We think sometimes that when I post something on Facebook or Snapchat, or if I send a friend of mine a picture, that is just happening between me and that person. Think again. That is never the case. Anything that comes out of your device, whether it's something you're saying or a picture or a video, assume as if you're standing in the middle of a public square. That's called the public square rule, and you're showing this to the entire world. Okay, there's no such thing as you're doing this between you and your friend only, and nobody else can see it. That never happens. This stuff is all these companies that we use today for social media. They make their money by storing data that we send to each other, so they can use it for other purposes, and hackers can get to that. Matter of fact, there was an example where somebody saw in Europe a billboard advertisement of a picture that they had on their Facebook, right here in the U.S. So nothing is private. You have to be very careful. Use this. Think about this public square or village square rule, where anything that you publish, anything that you send to people, imagine that you're saying this, standing in front of in the middle of a public square and saying it to everybody. Which should help you in a way filter what you send out. Make sure it's not private. Make sure it's proper. And again, coming back to our deen and our teachings, right? Anything we say and anything we do, we're accountable for. When it comes to social media, it's nothing different, right? if you type it, and it could cause damage. You see this today by people spreading bad news about Islam, and right, and that's that. So you got to be careful about that. We should definitely counter this by being smart. Don't just put things out there on social media that you regret later. And think twice before you send anybody a picture or a video thinking it's private. It's never private. Okay, I think we talked to this a little bit about this, but basically this is somebody could impersonate you when they steal your information. This is let me talk about my mother's picture, my mother's story here, and she did give me permission to talk about it, so I'm not talking about her behind her back here. Never want to do that. So one day my mother gets a call at about 1 p.m. and the people tell her that, hey, your husband called us. You have a problem with your phone, and we need to help you fix it. Right? She tells them, my husband is not home. Call after 6 or 7. He'll be home. We can talk to him. But they continue to talk to her about how important the issue is, that they can fix it without him, etc., etc. Now these guys, they know what they're doing, right? They're trying to target people that they know. Okay, there's a lady of this age in this home. Her husband is in the tech industry, so most likely he's going to be away from home and working. So if I just talk to her, who knows? I may get a hit here by having her give me access to things that without her knowing. And let's just say that by the end of that call, that person was able to log into my mother's machine, and they have now full control while she went back to whatever she was doing, because she thought he was fixing the device, but he actually was in there. Alhamdulillah, there was no private information and that kind of stuff. But imagine if this happens to your machine. So if somebody calls you saying, "Hey, we're here to help you," or even the one that hits us home really hard, and this is really happening across our community and other communities, is this IRS and immigration scams. They call you and say, "You owe the IRS this much money. Pay us that." The rule of thumb here is that nobody ever would call you at home to say, "I'm an immigration officer or an IRS officer." A lot of these things happen today via letter, where you have to go to a place and actually see somebody face to face. So anybody who calls you saying that they're the IRS or the immigration, hang them the phone right away, because it's 99.9% of the time that's scam. And even if it happens, there will be an exception, and you're not liable to it. So just be very, very careful when it comes to these situations. All right. So be wary, be smart, be careful. This is for the children here specifically. There's I teach a Sunday school with folks that at the mosque nearby here, and we talk about social media, and we started, the whole class was about social media. So I had people go and draw on the board the different type of applications that people can be visible to and have friends in, and we drew literally like at least 50 to 70 applications. And when I asked people, "Hey, what's a cool number of friends you can have on Facebook?" I started getting like hundreds. Like, I want to have 400, 500, 600. So people actually were, and this is very common across children, that the more friends I have, the more likes I have, the more views I have, the safer I am, right? The more cool I am, the more popular I am. Well, actually the opposite, because the more people you have on social media that are quote your friends, like in quotation marks here, they're not really your friends unless you know them in person. So the rule of thumb is, anybody I know online needs to be somebody that I know in person, or my family knows, right? It could be your uncle that you never met, right? That's okay, but your family needs to know who that person is and should know about them. Let's just say that by the end of that class, when we talked about security and the implication of having so many friends and the risk of having people online that could be your friend, but they're pretending to be your friend, but they're not, people at the end of the day thought it much cooler to have actually the least number of friends, not the most number of friends. So be careful of this. Having the most number of friends, while might seem it's cool on the surface, it's actually very, very unsafe and could cause trouble for you. So the rule of thumb that you follow is that you shouldn't know anybody online that are your friends on Snapchat or Facebook unless you actually know them face to face. If you do not know them face to face, your parents should know about them. All right, let's move on here. I'm just gonna let this here sink for a bit so you guys can review the recording and view this stuff offline, inshallah. Okay, this is when it comes to people who think that with privacy settings today I can protect myself on Facebook or Snapchat or MySpace or whatever, or Google Plus. I'm gonna give you just one sentence that basically states that's never the case. There's no such thing as privacy settings on Facebook. They do introduce them today, but these guys, they make their money by selling your data and making your data public. So actually, these companies, what they do once in a while is they go and they change their privacy settings, and they go and say, hey, go redo yours. Hey, go, there's a new privacy thing you need to go sign. There's a new, so they keep changing that to confuse people and make sure that their information is always exposed as much as possible. So this whole privacy settings is a scam. Don't assume that if I go and set my privacy settings in a certain way, it's gonna make things 100% safe. They're not 100% safe. It's actually definitely a good practice to go and understand those privacy settings and set them if you're on Facebook. For example, when you share information, you don't share to the world. You can share to your circle of friends or specific people, but don't assume that because you have that on, the information is not being shared. That's a very bad assumption, because the whole business model of folks like WhatsApp and Viber and Facebook is the more data they have from you, the more money they can make. All right. One of my favorite one is the Snapchat thing. A lot of kids are starting to get into that today. This is also a scam. Snapchat does save your data. Your data does not expire. It may seem like it expires. People can take screenshots and stuff like that, but Snapchat is not safer than Facebook. Things don't expire. So don't assume that if I'm on Snapchat today, sending things to my friends, that they go poof. They do not. As a matter of fact, these things are saved on thousands and thousands of servers before they reach the destination, and that whatever they're saved, they're backed up all the time. I'm in that business. I'm in the data in the cloud, and I know that today part of actually being a good product is to replicate the data across multiple devices, so that if one device is broken, I can go to the next device and have it recover. So the data is never just yeah, the data is always saved and never just deleted. All right. Cyberbullying. So the cyberbullying is something that you may or may not have been exposed to. I hope that at minimum you've been talking about this in schools. Sometimes in schools they talk about bullying in general, not cyberbullying. But I want to bring this to everyone's attention. Cyberbullying here is when a child is tormented, harassed, humiliated, threatened by another child or adult, and this happens online. And we'll go through some story here. This actually could start as early as 2nd grade. If somebody has WhatsApp or Facebook, or they have presence online, then that cyberbullying could actually happen that early. The difference to physical bullying is that in physical bullying, you have to be present face to face. So if you see that person, then you could be bullied. While when we talk about cyberbullying, it's actually more dangerous, because it happens it happens all the time, right? Because it's now it's on a Facebook. Anybody can send a message at any point of time, make fun of somebody, and harass them again and again and again. So it actually is as dangerous, and some argue that it's more dangerous than physical bullying. So one comment here before I go through this about 6-year-old bullies. So it's not about a 6-year-old bullying somebody. It's a 6-year-old being actually bullied themselves, which is very possible. And just so you know, sometimes people pretend like they're 6-year-old or 7-year-old online, or 13-year-old or 10-year-old, to just get your attention and act cool and become your friend. But this actually could be a very serious problem where that person turns out to be an adult or an older person that's trying to hurt you. This is a true story that I'd like everybody to just think about for a minute and digest here. But this is Megan. She became friend with Josh online for about a month. After a month, the conversation turned very nasty. Josh taunted her, and then she ended up committing suicide. It got to a point where it was so bad that she could not actually deal with this, and she ended up killing herself. Very, very sad situation. Here is the catch at the end, right? This Josh turned out to be the mother of a girl who didn't like Megan. right? So in this scenario, if you don't know the story at all, and I tell you, oh, there is a girl and a boy who became friends online, and they started, you know, knowing each other, and then all of a sudden the boy started telling the girl, I don't want to see you, or vice versa, right? It doesn't sound, it's, I mean, it's obviously all this stuff is against our deen, and we know better than not to deal with this, but it may not sound as bad to people, right? But just know that once somebody's online taunting you and harassing you, even if it started as a good friendly relationship at the beginning, it could turn to something ugly. You don't know that person. You haven't seen them face to face, and that could actually be somebody who could put a lot of harm on you and your family. So cyberbullying is a very, very serious thing that everybody should be aware of and take very seriously. So recommendations. The first thing is, please promise you will never cyberbully others, right? This is a talk for this. This is some people who are listening to this could either be people who are bully others or being bullied themselves. But bullying in general is bad. It's against the law. It's against our deen, and it could ruin you and the victim who's impacted by bullying. And if you learn about this in school today, there's actually a lot of kids who are afraid to go on buses. They're afraid to even go to school, and they have to be homeschooled because of bullying incidents that happen to them at schools. Cyberbullying make that worse, because that bullying could follow you everywhere you go now, at home and in school, wherever you have that device on connected. Never be part of cyberbullying. So sometimes you're not the bully or you're not being bullied, but you see a situation where somebody is being bullied. Never be part of that. If you hear about somebody being bullied, please make sure that you talk to somebody, an adult, about it. This is a talk for all the kids who are watching today. Stand up for each other. If you see a friend of you that's being bullied, a lot of times people who are being bullied, they don't talk about it, and they feel that it's a weakness if I talk about it. But if you see it yourself, don't participate, don't be part of it. Let adults know and let them deal with it. I know sometimes that may cause you to have your friend be upset, but it's definitely the better thing for them. Can you sue somebody for cyberbullying? I assume so. I mean, bullying is bullying. I just mentioned earlier that that mother who caused that girl to commit suicide is in jail right now, right? So bullying is bullying. If you are cyberbullied or bullied in general, talk to somebody. That's very important. Do not keep this to yourself. Share with someone else. Share with an adult, your friend, the guidance counselor. Do not face this alone. Don't go through this alone, because if you go through this alone, you're taking too much on yourself, and it could end up to a point where it stresses you out big time. So make sure that you talk to somebody about it. Don't respond if you feel that somebody started to harass you and say bad things about you, and this applies both to just bullying face to face or cyberbullying. If you respond, it goes back and forth, and things will get worse. Right? So try to ignore, and if the person just continues to do it, definitely talk to the adult right away so they can help you take action here. If you talk to your teacher and you don't see action being taken, talk to your parents, talk to somebody else. Always make sure that somebody else is helping you out through this. Don't retaliate, right? So this is something that sometimes we don't think about, and we do, where somebody says something about you online and you go and reply back with something even worse, or you post a picture of them and you embarrass them and make them feel bad. That's just bad. That's just going to get you in trouble, and you could get expelled for that kind of behavior. So please be aware of this, and don't do it. And if something is happening to you, you're being bullied, save the evidence. Make sure that you don't delete those chats, you don't delete those pictures. Even if you want to keep those private, save them so these can be used to help you get out of the situation, inshallah. All right. At the end of my presentation here, but I do have some pop quiz we can go through quickly to see how much attention you guys been given, and I hope you all have been glued to the device here, whatever you're watching this on. The first one, let's see. The internet is. Start typing. Whatever comes up to your mind. Bad, huge, not safe, public, dangerous, good and bad. Absolutely. So the internet is think of it as anything else that could be really good for you or bad for you. So the important part is to be aware that I like this, not trusting. It's sometimes dishonest. It may not, you may not know all the if things are truth or not. But there are a lot of good things about it today. Internet has made it very easy for us to learn the Quran, to look at YouTubes, and for those of us who don't have Arabic as their first language, hear others recite the Quran and repeat after them. So there's a lot of benefits to it. The important here is, my message here is not to bubble yourself out of the internet, but be aware, be smart. Don't try to stick to the things that are useful. And if there's anything that seems to be too good to be true, it's probably not true, and stay away from it as much as possible. Alrighty, be blank on the internet. Go. Careful, safe, smart. Yeah, smart is good. Be aware. I like this. Awareness is very important. Careful, safe. This is if there's anything I want you to get away from this, is just be aware of this. I like kind. This is very important. Absolutely. Responsible. Internet comes with responsibility. If you want responsibility, you're going asking your parents for access. You need to be responsible. If you're on the internet 24/7, it doesn't work that way. Matter of fact, the kids here may not like what I'm gonna give the parents as an advice, and my children here don't like it. And my child right here, who is 9-year-old Malik, next to me saying, "No, don't tell people." But my kids today they're not allowed to watch TV or use or play games on their devices throughout the week during school. On the weekend they can do it, right? So the idea here is that you need to be able to live with and without it, and be responsible with it. And it's okay for the parents to tell the kids, no, you cannot be on this during the week, or you can have you can only be using the internet, for example, if it's educational or learning about Quran and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to gaming and other stuff and exploration, then save that to the weekend, and make sure that as a parent you are there. Somebody mentioned here that it's a luxury. It's not needed. I disagree with that. It's no longer a luxury. It's actually part of life. Internet has become like power, like water. Without it, you just can't survive in this world. So my advice to parents is, don't shield your kids from it. Be aware of it. Be careful of it, and join your kids online. Okay, see what they're doing. Join them in the experience. Go search these topics with them together. And I can assure you that these kids know about the internet more than we think they know, and they can actually be big part of educating us parents of what's good and what's bad. Important, but don't shield your kids from it, because if you shield your kids from it 100%, then they're not going to learn about these vulnerabilities. They're not going to be aware of it, and when they're exposed to it at school and other places, they won't know how to react. So education is very important here. Don't give away secrets. Malik says here. Personal information, important information, location. Very good. What else? Identity clues, passwords, and yep. Very good. It's funny. We were presenting this at a mosque the other day, and we asked people, give me an example of a good password, and people started giving us their own passwords, right? I'm like, no, don't publicize their own passwords on the internet. This is, I love kebab. Nice, I like that. Yeah, so definitely, this is good. Don't give away. Social security number is very important. Even not just the whole social security number, even the last 4 digits of it, because it could be used a lot as a verification for people to know things about you. All right. Do not blank blank. It's bad and it's a crime. Cyberbullying, absolutely. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Ahsantum. Very good. The next one, do not blank online what you won't share in a public square. Share, post, text. Very good. You guys been awake. I like that. That's great. Amazing. Matter of fact, when I do this, I usually have chocolate with me. I can't give you any cyber chocolates today, but you guys all deserve chocolates. All right, question. The blank open attachments from emails sent by someone you know. I said someone you know. Someone you know. So if it's someone you know, what do you do, right? We talked about this. If you don't know, it's easy. Delete it right away, right? Move it to junk. If someone you know, you need to be careful, right? Because sometimes it may seem like it's someone you know, but the email is not really from that person. Today is very easy for somebody to send you an email that says, "Hey, this is an email about security hints from Kamal Shannak," and the email itself says from Kamal Shannak as a name. But if you hover over my name, it's somebody who's been maybe hacked us right now, listening to us. They'll put a fake email address that makes you go do some to a website that is pretty bad. So how do you tell? Usually, if you just look at the body of the email, look at the to address itself, expand the to address so you can see the exact address where it's coming from. That will tell you if it's really from somebody you know or not. Hackers are always amongst us. You got to live that way. All right. Give an example of a strong password. I already gave you guys a hint. Do not post your password here. Do not post your password. Actually, no, these are bad passwords. I'm seeing a very bad password because somebody, all they're doing is going through the keyboard and just making it very predictable, right? Good. I'm seeing good things here about combination of numbers, of names, special characters. Sentences are really good as well. Like write a full sentence. Those are very hard to predict as well. So that's good. But make sure it's not something that is very obvious. And again, we have what's a ransomware? I didn't talk about ransomware, did I? Does anyone know what ransomware is? Let's talk about ransomware. I missed that one, so good thing there was a question about it. So ransomware is actually recent, but this is where somebody could actually host, hold you as a victim for a ransom. And one example of that is, let's say that you are at a supermarket and you bought goods that you need and that kind of stuff. And then when you go and try a credit card, your credit card is locked, right? Somebody could actually call you and say, "Hey, I hacked your credit card. I locked it right now. If you want it to be unlocked, then send me some money." Now, in a grocery store, I'm gonna probably say, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna rip my credit card and call my credit card company and get a new one." But there could be situations where you're in dire need for the credit card. You're traveling, right, and that kind of stuff. Or somebody could actually take advantage of that and be able to say, "Hey, if you want access to your credit card, then I need you to send me $200, right? And here's the information, and I can give you access." Now, here is where this could become even. Can somebody give me an example of how the ransomware could be very, very dangerous in light of the devices we have today, right? The different devices. What could somebody do? I'll give me an example of how somebody could hold somebody at a ransom. Let's think. Yeah, give me your iPad. That's a good one, right? Somebody could actually lock your machine, lock your device, and actually put a message in front of you saying, "If you want your device to be unlocked, send me some money." One of the scariest one that I heard about is car, right? Think that you're driving. It's a hot day, middle of nowhere. and somebody actually hacks your car, locks you in, and say you want to unlock the key, the windows. It's a hot day, and say if you want to be unlocked, give us some money, right? So this is with the devices we have today. Somebody could hack your fridge. Obviously, if somebody lock your fridge on you, it's not the end of the world, right? But it matters if somebody hacks your oven, right, and it could cause damage and that kind of stuff. This is with the number of devices that are out there. Somebody could do this damage. How do you overcome this? We talked about this a little bit, but don't just go out there and just buy devices left and right. This is a lot of companies today are for them to try to get to the market before others. They're compromising on security, and what they're doing is they are releasing devices out there that are not secure. The connections are not secure. And they're thinking of security as a second item. So whenever if you have a camera at home, whether it's your kid's nanny camera or a security camera, make sure that you understand what the security configuration for that is. It's on by default. If it's not, get it secured. That stuff could be scary, but it's all manageable. Awareness is a big part of it, right? As I mentioned, being scared is the first step here. Being aware is another step. And then what that hopefully will do, inshallah, is have you go and research the devices that you have, research the things that you buy, the websites you go to, and just always be thinking of it. Just like you think of whenever you tell your kids, the stranger danger kind of thing, internet has to be in the same level, right? Where your child right now could be meeting strangers, not just when they step outside of the home, even within the home itself. So make sure you're involved in a very good way, in a very kind way with your children. Increase that communication between you and your children so that they're open to you. And for the kids, your parents being involved is very, very critical. The more you do on your own, the less you are safe out there and you have less support. So please make sure that your parents are involved in whatever you do, and always ask for their opinion. Oh, last one. This is my favorite question. What is two-factor authentication? Looks like Badr Abdu is scared. That's good, Badr. That's the first step, man. And then the next step is to be aware and secure yourself. Very good, very good. It's basically you have to enter two different codes to log in the devices, and usually they're very smart about this. What they do is they usually, if you log into a website on your own device for the very first time, they recognize your device, and they would say, oh, you're logging on your I don't know, Gmail for the first time on this device. We're gonna send you a code to your phone. Enter it, but they won't ask you that again and again and again. To make sure that you to make it easier for you. But this to prevent somebody from outside to be able to use your login name and password that they got through key configuration, right? Or spying on your keys and what you're typing, because that code they give you is random and it's new every single time. All right. Remember, the internet is awesome. Just be careful, be aware, be safe, and please, as all the kids who are here, I know you're smart. You're much more aware of this stuff than sometimes adults think you are. Think of it as a very critical thing that you're connected. You need to be smart about it. Who you share with, what you share, who you send messages to. I know at schools it gets very difficult, and sometimes we get caught into what's cool and what's not, and forget about what's right and what's not. So please be responsible when you're online, and if you see something that is wrong, make sure that an adult knows as soon as possible. And I am done.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Kamal. Jazakallah khair. The audience, the attendees were really connected, and I think they learned a lot. I, as a mom, learned a lot, and now I'm going to actually even go to my high school boys and ask them what's going on and what they're doing, because they're always on their devices and they're buying stuff. And so alhamdulillah, I as a mom learned a lot. I'm sure that it's really good to know all these things when you're younger so that you don't make some mistakes and compromise and think that the pictures that you're sharing are just between two people. So Jazakallah khair for really helping us understand in a very simple way. Jazakallah khair.
وإياكم.
And if you can end with Surah Asr, please, inshallah.
Absolutely. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا for being very interactive, and I hope you take whatever you learned today and spread the word out there, share with people. I think the volunteers here will share with you the recording. I do have this presentation also online on SlideShare that we can share the link with you as well, so you can reference and go back to. Some of you may have gotten, I get some people who get very scared. That's okay. This is just, at least you know right now, and you can go and be aware and take some actions to make you and your family safer, inshallah. And keep me and my family in your dua. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah make all of us sadaqah jariyah for you. And then may Allah make your family coolness of your eyes, and may Allah give you and your family success in both worlds. Jazakallah khair, Brother Kamal.
Yeah.
And Jazakallah khair, audience, for being here on a weekday where you could be again doing your homework, watching TV. Doing homework, of course, is good. I hope you've done it already. But giving us your relaxing time and being here. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, MCNA and YMJ will be back with another prime time next month. So wait for it in your emails. Jazakallah khair. I will be closing the room. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.